So today we'll discuss about the FSLogix. Okay. So what is FSLogix is a profile management solution. Mainly we are using for the Citrix environments or Azure AVD or RDS kind of environments or like in the VMware View Horizon also. FSLogix is the simple solution for the profile management. So previously we have their own profile management like Citrix having UPM, or we used to work with Absence kind of tool, and VMware View Horizon also have their personal management kind of profile management we have. But now we have FSLogix is there, in the VDI environment, it's very easy to use. And one more advantage what we have is it's going to be manage Office 365, these kind of profiles also easily it's going to manage. And one more advantage is it's very simple and fastly it's going to load. Fastly it's going to load. Okay, so all the user personal settings, files, and even application data, all that is going to store in the FSLogix. Okay, so that's now even in the Citrix environments or in the Azure AVD, RDS environments, and even with the VMware View Horizon also, like for the profile management, like FSLogix is the solution we are going to use. So FSLogix is the solution we are going to use. Okay, so now if I go to the FSLogix, what are the main components we have in the architecture of the FSLogix we'll discuss. So what are the main components we have with the FSLogix? Here we need to install FSLogix then, in the FSLogix, once we install, it's going to store the profile container, like in the file, like maybe VHD file or VHDX file. So we have the two types of files, but it's always recommended to use the VHDX file. Okay, instead of giving, so we have one registry setting whether to go with the VHD or VHDX file, but it's recommended to use the VHDX file. That profile container we are storing in the VHDX file, like all the user enter profile is going to store in this VHDX file. It is going to store like the user desktop related documents, app data, all that is going to store. Okay, so then when the user, it looks like a local profile kind of thing, but this file is mounted in the remote location. Okay, what are the locations also is supported, we'll discuss. So what is the main component in the FSLogix is the profile container. Okay, so profile container is that. So profile container stores the enter profile, and if you are using Office 365, then we are going to use like Office container also is going to store. So which is only for the Microsoft Office 365 we are going to use. All the data is going to be stored in the Office container. Okay, then in order to store that sensitive kind of things, all those. Okay, so here we are going to, based on the identity, all that, we have the app masking also we are going to store. Then we have the different Java versions we are going to maintain. Like we have the different Java versions of the applications. We can control the different versions of the Java also. We have 13, 17, our latest versions of the Java also. But different environment settings, all those we can control by using the Java version control. Okay, so then here we have four types of architecture components. So first one is the profile container, second one is the office container, app masking, and the Java version control. So these all we are going to get it when we install the FSLogix, and as per our requirements, we need to configure FSLogix settings either through registry we can set, otherwise we can manage those through Active Directory AD level also we can apply through the templates. We have ADMX templates, from that we can do, or we can manage even from the Entra ID also we can, or Intune also we can control these policies. At the cloud level we can use Intune, these kind of things. So otherwise we can use the AD level also we can control if we have the hybrid kind of environment. Then what are the advantages of using the FSLogix is compared to Citrix UPM? It's a very faster logins because the profile loads very fastly. With the roaming profile also, it takes more time to load. But with the FSLogix, very faster login is going to happen. And second one is a very simple profile management. So this is also one of the advantage why we are not using roaming profiles. Okay. So then it's a simple profile management. Then like we need to use for the Office 365 or Windows 365 also. It optimizes delivery of those content also. Okay. So that is also one of the better advantage. And single image management. Okay. So we can maintain the lesser images and improve user experience, and works with the multiple platforms also. So suppose if you go for the Citrix UPM or VMware personal management, it's only for those solutions only. But this works for the multiple platforms. For RDS it supports, virtual desktops it supports, Citrix, VMware View Horizon, it is going to support. Okay, so these are all the advantages what we are going to get compared to even with the Citrix UPM kind of thing, or with the traditional roaming profile also. Like for the profile management, like FSLogix is getting more popular. Yeah. Any doubts on this? Any
Uh,
doubts? Yeah.
in the Citrix file, suppose that when the user having any profile issue, we can reset the profile with dot world, right? So in Azure, how to reset
Yeah,
the
we
profile?
need to take the backups of those. So we need to say if any issue comes, we need to have a backup of that when the storage we are going to configure. Like that storage we need to keep in the Azure storage, or in the we need to keep. And if the user having any issue with the performance related or any of the profile corrupted, we don't get mostly these kind of issues we have, like VHDA file. That's we need to reset that option. Okay, so now here we need to reset that, either from the registry setting we can reset, or we need to restore that at the cloud level. We need to take the backups of those, and we need to give the permissions also to reset the data. So this is very simple. Even in the FSLogix also, the user need to log off, and existing profile container we need to rename. Then need to clear the registry settings. Then user is going to get that his profile reset also. Automatically that user is going to log into to the newer profile, and all the unnecessary data, all that also we need to clean up. But we can automate this process also, like maybe using the PowerShell scripts like this also we can resets. But at the data level, at the Azure file shares we are going to use, like we need to take a backup automatically. We can configure the backups all those also. We can plan for that. Okay, so we'll discuss how to reset that data also, because anyhow if the profile have been but it's very simple in this. Okay, so what may be the considerations we have with the FSLogix is we required a large kind of a profile containers becomes, even that same problem we have with the roaming profile we have, or with the UPM also we have, but that's the reason we need to configure the policies or settings, which data we need to take care. Only that's we need to keep it a simple kind of data. Okay, so that's the reason, like maybe over the time it maybe become very large kind of thing, and complexity also. Okay, so maybe sometimes it's setting up in the hybrid environment, all that may looks complex kind of thing. But definitely we need a backup, because if any of the profile have been corrupted, or if the user lost, definitely we need the backup also. And by default, it is not supporting any redundancy. We need to, at the storage level, we need to configure at the multiple regions, zone level, replications, all that we need to plan. Okay. So definitely performance wise it affects if that is taking more time to load the data, all that. Like definitely performance also we need to take care like good networking with the if you are using Azure on premises we have the Citrix environment and Azure cloud we are going to store. Definitely networking all those also we need to constrain. Okay, so now here FSLogix versus roaming profile. Uh, Definitely FSLogix itself will have the very faster this, but roaming profile definitely performance wise will have some constraints and very simple also. Okay, so here like it's almost set up like FS Logic itself, but simple architecture they have given and even configurable very easily with two or three registry settings itself. Okay, so and we have like a container-based kind of profiles we are going to store in the VHDX file. That is the reason profile corruption also it won't happen very frequently like how it's going to happen with the roaming profile and very good integration with the Windows 365 and Office 365 kind of support and even for Citrix RDS also it is going to support and like for the concurrent sessions also like it is going to support. One of the another advantage is it is going to support like concurrent kind of sessions and large profiles also can be handled flexible also we have different type of options also like we need to manage large scale kind of uh, management also is possible with this. So then like another question what from the Citrix perspective they will ask is Citrix versus Citrix already have their own UPM kind of thing and how to use it from the like FSLogix. Why we need to go for the FSLogix? Okay, then here we have user experience wise also. It's better experience. Then like here app masking. So app masking is also one of the feature of FSLogix. Saying that like we no need to install or remove those applications. Like app masking is going to hide all the executables, folders, registry settings. Okay, all those it's going to mask those. Like maybe we want different applications. We want to given like we no need to maintain the multiple golden templates we no need to maintain. Say suppose for HR department, those apps are different. For sales department, those apps are different. So instead of creating multiple golden images, by using the app masking feature, we can reduce. So we can reduce the number of golden images and even we can mask those applications from some unauthorized users also. So with that we can reduce the licensing cost of that user wise also. So what is the advantage of app masking? So with the app masking, what we are doing is like some of the application executables, those registry settings, folders, those we are not displaying to every user. Depends upon the user permissions. We are going to display those apps. So suppose here we have sales team, HR team, IT team. Like we have the same image, but I'm going to mask those applications of HR related to sales teams. Or finance team like this. Here we are going to mask them. Okay, so here we are going to apply those settings. Okay, on the same image itself we have those images, but by using the app masking, what is the advantage? By using the app masking, what is the advantage? Say in the previous use case, I need to create multiple golden templates. I need to create the multiple golden templates. For IT, I want to create one golden template. For sales, I want to create one golden template. And for the marketing, I want to create one golden template. But if I use the app masking kind of things, what is the advantage we have is the same golden image, but depends upon the users we are going to hidden those applications, those registry settings, application folders, all those I'm going to mask them. And even unauthorized also, they want to access those applications. I'm not going to display. Okay, so now here, when the user login, FSLogix we have on that session host or on that mission will read those assignments, rule assignments. These all we are going to store in one file called as .fxa. So we have one file called as .fxa, and it's going to apply those rules. Then those applications which that user has authorized, that is only is going to display to this. Okay, so with this app masking, what is the advantage? With app,
Just it display like
yeah, based on the user says,
based on the user's requirement.
yeah, otherwise we need to maintain multiple golden images or golden templates we need to maintain. Multiple golden templates we need to maintain. Okay, so that's we can reduce by using
App masking.
app masking. So now here, actual say here we have two important files we have in that app masking. Okay, so one is .fxr. Okay, so all those the actual rules are going to stored. What are the apps and files, registries? All those are going to be stored. And the second one is .fxa. Okay, the assignment rules are going to stored in .fxa. Okay, so now here all these rules and all those have been stored in a, like mostly in the app rules we are going to store. And whenever that user logins, FSLogix will read those rule assignments .fxa rule assignments and applies those rules dynamically. It's going to apply. It's going to apply those dynamics rules by .fxr file. Either in the shared path we are going to keep, or in the FSLogix itself, apps rules in the directory we are going to store this. Okay, so now FSLogix keep the user profile inside the VHD or VHDX file, directly mounts it to the login. But whereas roaming profiles need to copy the profile from the path what we have specified in the roaming profiles. Okay, then that may be like a causes slowness or corruption may be possible. But the new advanced solution and which suits for the VDA for the multi-session kind of environments, all this is FSLogix is the better solution. FSLogix is the better solution we are going to configure. Okay, so then compared to say suppose already Citrix having Citrix UPM we have, then we need to use FSLogix. We are suggesting to the environment to go for FSLogix. Then what are the advantages? How we can manage the Citrix UPM is we have the Citrix policies we have. In the earlier version, they used to give the even administrative templates also, which we need to import to Active Directory. But now they have given with the Citrix UPM like has been installed by default. Okay, and we can reduce instead of using the roaming profile compared to Citrix UPM and roaming profile, like more benefits will come with the UPM, but compared to UPM also, like FSLogix have some advantages. FSLogix, like at the login speed wise, it's very fast compared to
UPM, right?
UPM, and even profile corruption wise also, like it's not going to be like not that much corrupted, but even we can have a backup of that, from that we can restore that. Okay, so then even if like even in the UPM also the profile is going to be cached, but sync may be corrupted, but profile is local mounted disk. Even if the network is temporarily interrupted also, offline profile handling. So these all solutions we have in even in the roaming profile we have, but handled in a better way with the like uh, with the FSLogix. Okay, so then here it's a little complex. We need to configure the streaming profile, active write back, and which of the files we want to exclude to write into that UPM. So these all the different policies we have in the Citrix UPM. Okay, so those we need to set up. but that complexity has been simplified with FSLogix. But another very important one is like with the cloud support like Office 365, OneDrive. Okay, so with all this, the main advantage is it is supporting natively. It is supporting all this, but we need more like GPOs. All those we need to download if we want to use this with the UPM. Okay, but with the Citrix, FSLogix environment, by default it is going to support. And with the concurrent sessions also in the multi-session environment with the Azure ABD or Citrix environment also, it supports concurrent access also it is going to provide. Okay.
Can we use both product in the same environment?
No. Either UPM or FSLogix.
Must be
Otherwise,
one.
again, yeah. It's not recommended to use both the things.
Okay.
Because again which settings it need to use, all that would be problem. Okay, so here one advantage is we can add the exclusions, all these we can add in the UPM. We have that policies we have in the UPM policies we have, like we can exclude some of the files and folders, all that also can be handled in a better way with the UPM settings. Okay, UPM also is a good solution, but in the cloud kind of environments and all this, and multi-session environments, Office 365 kind of integrations is recommended to go with the FSLogix. But coming to the licensing, if you have the Citrix environment, it already included in that Citrix Virtual Apps and Desktop licenses. Okay, but with the FSLogix, we required that depends upon which version of Office 365 we have AVD. With that, we need to consider the licensing also. Okay, so then the profile size is can be handled bigger also. But with the Citrix UPM, again, if the size of the profile is bigger, it affects our desktop or performance. So performance is going to be done. Okay. So then applications also can be handled in a better way. FSLogix. Okay. So then here, the profile container, we are storing either in the form of .vhd or .vhdx file formats we are going to use. Okay. So which is now is recommended is VHDX itself. The profile container, all the data is going to be stored in one profile container, and that file format is .vhdx or VHD, and we have one registry setting, and by default the option is going to stored in .vhdx file itself. It's recommended to use .vhdx file itself is recommended to use as of now. But the differences, what is the difference between VHD and VHDX is VHDX now is supported from Windows 2012 version, whereas VHD is the previous in 2008 we used to do, and the maximum size is 2 TB itself is supported, whereas VHDX is supporting
64
64
TB.
GB. Okay, so that is the reason for the better size and more performance wise, it's recommended to use VHDX file. While configuring also the registry settings on the FSLogix, we have these registry settings we have. Okay, so based on this, we are going to configure. Okay, even if any corruption happens, all those also is better to use VHDX file. Okay, and it's need the OS newer higher version of OS is required. Okay, so then here modern applications better to use VHDX because it's a newer, faster and bigger and more reliable also. Okay, if you have very older versions, then better to go for VHD file. Okay, then here FSLogix already we discussed what are the components we have is profile container. Okay, so then office container we have profile container. Office container. Then we have the cloud cache. So here, cloud cache is going to uh, add that like whenever we are using if, like a cloud-based solutions like the local cache also is going to be get it whenever we have like uh, whenever we are going to use writing multiple locations at the same time. Like it's a cloud cache keeps the local copy of the user profile, and whenever we want to store them like the data is not available, then users can store that from the local cached copy we are going to use. So now like whenever the local cache of the profile is going to be created on the virtual machine, and all the changes are going to be written into that cache. Okay, then if any of the solution is storage is not available, like user can work from the local cache. So that with that we don't get any like a downtime kind of thing, even if the backend storage targets are not available. Backend targets are not available also. Locally, we are going to keep the cache, and finally, we are going to synchronize that. Finally, synchronize to that whatever the backend storage types we have, so that it is going to store that. So, what is the advantage with this is like a high availability. Say it for the multiple storage targets also, it's going to provide a fault tolerance kind of thing, even if that storage is not available. Okay, so then it's going to be written in the local storage, and even by storing that data in the locally instead of directly writing into the cloud, what is the advantage is the performance can be improved. The performance can be improved, and here like if the storage downtime is there also, it is going to be stored. Okay, so that is the advantage of using the cloud cache. Okay, and in the multiple locations also we can maintain. And what are the multiple storage locations we have is Azure files we can use, or Samba share kind of file shares we can use, or we can have Azure NetApp files, and even on-premises also we can maintain. Okay, so once the user login, local like it's going to cache it that on the VM disk, then later with the cloud cache, it is going to storage that. So that is the advantage of using cloud cache. So with that locally we can keep, and cloud cache one more layer is going to come. Finally, that is going to synchronize all the data to that remote storage options what we have. Okay, so then how the user login, how that FSLogix works, we'll discuss. So when the user logins, FSLogix agent has been installed in our AVD environment on the session host, and that's reads that VHD or VHDX file which is attached to that. Then like user profile and depends upon the like app masking details, all those it's going to uh, uh, process all that. Then the user profile all the desktop documents, app data, all that is going to be stored, and during that session all the changes are going to be stored in the VHDX file, and locally finally that is going to synchronize even with the remote kind of thing. Okay, so then at the time of user log off, VHDX also is going to be is unmounted, and that profile is going to be available to the next session. Okay, so like this here that FSLogix supports. Okay, so then say here we have the multi session environment also. Like here, whenever like users are logging, like multi-session support also. Okay, so then in the Azure ABD or in the remote desktop or Citrix virtual apps and desktops also, we have the multi-session support is there. Like when the user logins to the multi-session environment, like FSLogix will mount their profile to their session. Even if the more users log in also, each user can use his profile. Okay, either from the file server or from Azure files, okay, via FSLogix. Okay, so their own profile can be converted. It looks like a local profile kind of thing, but it has been mounted dynamically with that remote storage. Okay, so now user is going to log into that session host server. Then FSLogix checks that a file share for that user profile container, that VHDX file. Then it's going to be mounted. Then that disk is going to be working all those. Okay, for the different users also, different profiles are going to stored. Each user have his own like a separate profile is going to be stored, and even faster login can be provided. That is also one of the advantage of using FSLogix. That is going to be using FSLogix. So for this, we need to set up some registry settings. We need to set up for the multi-session environment. Okay, for the multi-session environment, we need to set up some settings. We need to set up. But without FSLogix, what is going to happen is our profiles may be corrupted in that situation with the many users. And file folder redirection is a little complex kind of thing, and slow login, user experience may be bad. Okay, but all these are going to be avoided even in the multi-session environment also by the FSLogix. Okay, so and what are the storages are supported is here it's maybe like a SMB kind of file share. Okay, so then we're going to use uh, the SMB, like maybe file shares. We have those file shares where we are going to use. Here we need to use that remote backend. Maybe we can use the file shares we can use, or we can use like a distributed file systems also. We can use the distributed file systems also. We can use those namespaces we can use with the, or we can use the Azure blob storage also. We can use Azure blob storage also. First it's going to store locally, later it's going to be synchronized with the cloud cache. It is going to synchronize that. Okay, so then here the DFS is nothing but, like, we have the namespace server, and in that we have for the multiple environments we can maintain those different DFS namespace servers. We can maintain multiple DFS namespaces for the different shares. We can give like that. Okay, so that is one of the advantage by using the DFS namespaces also. Then what are the prerequisites or dependencies is, we required Windows operating system. Then FSLogix agent need to be installed, and we required one storage, like that's maybe Samba, NFS, or Azure files, NetApp kind of solutions we required. Then either through the group policies we can apply those settings, or registry settings, or we can use like Intune kind of settings also globally we can set up. So mostly in the local environment we are going to apply through Active Directory we are going to store, or like manually if we want to apply registry settings, we need to set up that on that profile management. Okay, so now here we have like what are the advantages of FSLogix architecture is, like it's a super faster, like a kind of logins. The applications can be delivered very fastly. and no need to uh, like a folder redirection, all that we no need to set up. Then even with the Office 365, with all those also it works very well. Multi-session, and even with the cache, like cloud data that is not available also, from the local caches is going to use, and it's going to be written also in the local cache, and finally it would be synchronized with the cloud caches. Okay, so then here we have a say in which scenarios better to go with the FSLogix or Citrix UPM. We need to discuss definitely with Azure AVD or Citrix DAS on Azure. Okay, Windows 365 kind of environments, better to go with FSLogix. Okay, if we have on-premises environment and locally itself we are going to keep, then better to go with Citrix UPM. But we need to optimize with the like all the best practices, all those we need to follow. But we want to integrate with Office 365 with that with the on-premises Citrix environment also. Better to go with FSLogix. So now we are using even with the on-premises also we have Office 365 all those. Then better to go with the FSLogix itself. And the granular level, folder level exclusions, those kind of permissions we want in the Citrix environment, then UPM is a better option compared to FSLogix. Okay, so then depends upon our requirement. Even in the Citrix also, we are going to choose either FSLogix or Citrix UPM we are going to choose. And one more solution previously most of the companies used to work is absence is that. Say in the Citrix environments also, Citrix absence, we are going to use it. Citrix absence, we are going to use. Okay, so then say here how to configure these like in the Azure AVD environment. Like first we need to set up the host pool and the session host. Then we need to configure the storage. Say in the Azure AVD mostly we are going to use like a uh, Azure storage account with the file share we are going to use, and that's we are going to that mount like what is the file share path we have, that is we are going to configure to FSLogix, and we need to give the permissions also to that file share also. Then we need to set up those FSLogix group policy settings or registry settings. So that's we can use if you have Active Directory kind of join to that domain, then we are going to use FSLogix ADMX templates. These in the group policies we can import these administrative templates, and from that we can set up like from the GPMC we are going to create a new GPO to that OU where we have our session host. Then in this, like what are the important registry settings or what are the policy settings we have is, like what we need to enable is, we need to enable FSLogix profile container. So one of the like policy setting is FSLogix profile containers we need to enable, and we need to give the VHD location path. So either these we can set up through administrative templates, or we can manage them through or we can manage them through we can manage them through the registry settings we can set up. Okay, so now in these three important uh, things we are going to keep. One is enable that FSLogix profile container. If I don't enable, this is not going to work. And we need to provide the VHD location also. So we need to provide the VHD location and size. Okay, so these things we need to specify. The second method is, what is the second method? We are going to keep like um, the same options. We are setting directly on the registry itself instead of applying through the like a GPO. We are setting that through like a
Just
registry settings. In that we need to set up the path of that registry is in this registry path, like we need to go for HK local mission software FSLogix profiles. In that we need to enable we need to keep this one, and VHD locations we need to give the path of that, and size in MBs. That size in MBs we are going to provide. Okay, so in the large scale environment, always recommended to apply through always recommended to apply through GPO. We are going to apply, it's always recommended to apply through the GPO we are going to apply. Okay, otherwise what we can do is we can manage that through registry settings. We can apply in the small environments, better to go for registry setting. In the large scale, we are applying that, importing that administrative templates. When we download FSLogix will give that ADMX templates also onto the GPMC, because by default in the Azure, sorry, in the Active Directory environment, we don't get FSLogix policies. We don't get that. That is the reason FSLogix is providing those through ADMX templates, and we need to configure those ADMX templates. In the early versions of Citrix also, UPM also used to give like this itself, ADMX templates, but later they have integrated with the Citrix policies itself. So with the Citrix policies itself, we can apply those settings. Okay, so then either in any of these settings, we are going to apply. Okay, then after that we need to, once we set up those settings, all this, we need to install FSLogix on the session host. So these registry settings we can configure after this itself, or before also we can set up. Later we are going to install FSLogix. Okay, so we need to download the FSLogix. Okay, so then we need to install that FSLogix, like in the quiet mode we are going to install the TXE. We are installing, and we need to reboot. Okay, then like we need to check that, remote storage file shares, that file would be, profile files would be created, all those also. We need to test whether that settings all are coming or not also. We need to check that.
Yeah,
Okay,
sir, registry settings need to uh, do it that master image only, right?
on that on the session host we are doing in this environment.
Okay, okay.
Okay, so now here we have like three settings we discuss right here. One setting is related to like enabled. We need to enable VHD location and size in MBs. In the same way, like if we have some of the best practices, we have also like here, like a delete. Delete local profile when VHD should apply. But that means if we have the local profile is there, delete the local profile. This is also one of the best practice. And the profile type, 0 for VHDX, 1 for VHD. By default, anyhow, now we are getting 0 itself. Okay. So that what is the advantages? Like more size and all those, we have the advantages by using that registry setting. Okay, so then even we have e dynamic setting also is going to be stored. VHDX files are like fixed size or dynamic kind of sizes also. Like each dynamic, if it is one means it's a dynamic kind of thing is going to store, and each dynamic is 0 means it's a fixed size VHD is going to create. Okay, so each dynamic is like which is recommended to set up. Each dynamic is which one is recommended to support? Dynamic or fixed? So dynamic is recommended in the cloud. Is recommended to create the dynamic kind of thing. Okay, so then that size can be increased also. Okay, so then here how the user profile like folder name all that can be redirected for the dynamic kind of things is like depends upon the SID of that. Okay, so now like whenever it's going to store the it's going to use SIDs of those. Okay, so folder is named if I set up based on the like a 0, the redirection that folder is going to be redirected by SID of that user. Okay, by default FSLogix uses SID based folder names because those SIDs are very unique kind of things. Okay, but I don't want SID base, I want username base. Then this registry setting we need to keep to 1. Okay, so if this setting is 0, what is going to happen? Flip-flop profile redirect name, directory name. If it is 0, that is the default behavior that is going to stored by SID. Okay, if it is 1 means, if I use 1, what is going to happen is it is going to use that depends upon the username of that. Depends upon the username. By default, these settings are going to be stored in based on the SIDs. But say suppose our company is telling to use username base, then we need to set up one we need to set up. Okay. So in the small and medium environments, better to manage through the usernames. Okay. Okay, so now here already we discussed user logins to the VDI, either that's maybe VDI or Citrix or AVD. Then it is search for the file share where the user profile disk are stored. Okay, and automatically it's going to mount to that one instead of copying in the roaming profile. What is going to happen is it is going to copy all the data. But in this scenario, FSLogix mounts that user disk as a virtual hard disk drive. Okay, so then users all the changes also can be written into that mounted container. Okay, it looks like a local profile, and during log off that log off is going to be unmounted. Okay, then like this here, no already that is synchronizing with all the data. Then when the next time the user logins, the same personalized settings all are going to be stored. Okay, so like this here, it's going to work with this. Okay, so these all the advantages we have. So now here we have the Azure ABD environment. Like we need to create the host pools. Then we need to create the session host servers. So we need to choose the session host servers. After creating like session host and application groups, so what we need to do is we need to create the Azure file share. We are using Azure file shares, and in that Azure file shares, we need to create a storage account. Okay, so storage account we are creating. Then I'm adding a file share also. File shares I'm creating. Then to the file shares, in the like permissions or authorizations, we need to use Azure AD authentication we can assign. Okay. Then add Azure AD authentication. Then what we need to do is say today everyone download FSLogix. A small installer is available. Then we need to install FSLogix agent. Where we need to install is in all your session host servers. We need to install our FSLogix in all our session host server. We need to install that FSLogix. Okay. Then once we download that, automatically we are getting even FSLogix GPO templates also. We are getting .admx files also. With that, we can create a GPO. Say if those ABDs have been attached to domain, we can use these settings. we can create a GPO, and from that that all that AVD session host which domain those have been added, from that we can manage it. Okay, then mostly like these settings we are going to manage. Enable FSLogix profile container should be enabled, and here based on our file share, like what is the file share we have given, so that file share we need to give the path, like that VHD location we need to give the path of that. Okay, and delete VHD profile when we should apply. Size is dynamic, and that flip flop, that setting also we can set up. Okay, better to enable is dynamic also is one of the best practice from the FSLogix. Okay, otherwise the same settings like in the profiles they should be enabled. VHD location, delete local profile when VHD should apply, and these dynamic. Okay, so these all we need to set up. Okay, so with this, what is like the next time when the user is going to be login, automatically that setup is going to work. Okay, so this lab I'll show in the tomorrow session. Okay, so this lab will show any new environment is created for Azure.